continue the series on Moses, which was awesome because I get to go over the plagues. That's why I wanted it. Because this is, honestly, in my mind, if you know a little bit about the story of Moses, you mainly think burning bush, you think plagues, and you think parting of the Red Sea. That's mainly the three main points most people know about life of Moses. And my favorite part of the plagues is they're just crazy. So I was really excited to let me continue it on the plagues, and I'm really excited. But since I'm going through the first 9 plagues out of 10, we don't have scripture because we stand up reading 3 chapters. And I just didn't think y'all would want to do that. I know I don't read well, so I don't want to read 3 whole chapters. But I will be reading. Look, I read slow too. I'll be finished reading. Y'all be like, time for lunch. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to say the verse I'm going to read, and I'll read the different parts. I'll read it out of here. We've been going through the life of Moses. We've learned about how he was put in a river in a basket, and he was raised in Egypt. How he killed a man in Egypt, and then he ran out in the wilderness, and then how God protected him in the wilderness, and he showed him a sign through the burning bush, and how Moses rejected God and gave him all these excuses, which still blows me away that God talks to Moses, and his first response is, "But I don't speak so good, and what about this? What about this?" I'll be like, anything you say. But Moses, he was bold. So God sent Aaron with him, his brother, sent Aaron with him. And they were able to go out, they were able to do what God said. They went up to Pharaoh and they said, "Let my people go." And as we learned last week, that didn't work so well. Pharaoh didn't let the people go. In fact, he made them work harder. We've always looked at this series through the eyes of Moses. What's different about this time is we're going to be looking at this story through the eyes of Pharaoh. This week, we're going to be talking about the consequences of a hardened heart. A hardened heart just means when you're just being too daggone stubborn to listen to reason. And it gets harder and harder, you just become more stubborn. But the big thing is, and I'm just going to go ahead and knock this out, most times, different people, depending on your level of just curiosity, the big thing people bring up is throughout the first, 6 plagues. After these plagues, Pharaoh hardens his own heart. But on the 6th plague, God hardens Pharaoh's heart. And people always bring up, well, why would God harden Pharaoh's heart? Wouldn't you think God wouldn't want Pharaoh to resist so that people could be let go and the plagues could stop? That seems unfair. That seems mean. And that's the big thing people get hung up on in this sermon, this thing that people go through. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out immediately. Pharaoh denied God 6 times. He kept saying, "No, God, I don't believe in it. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to listen to you." So finally, God just gave him what he'd been asking for. He said, "Fine, here." But it also says in Scripture, the reason that these things are happening, the reason that he has these 10 plagues, God had a plan. And these plagues were important. It says in there, they are to spread my name across the entire world. God was famous, but he won't God famous. Like the wrath of God that we hear about in the Old Testament. Every single place in the earth almost knew about our God after this. I wouldn't be preaching on this if Moses went up to Pharaoh and said, "Can you let my people go?" And Pharaoh goes, "Yeah, I guess." And then he lets them go. I wouldn't be preaching on it. It wouldn't have been as impactful. God's power would not be on display without this. Now, I'm only on the first 9 plagues because the 10th one is so powerful, so impactful, so connected to the whole grand scheme of things, the whole story of Jesus Christ. God had to do the 10 plagues because he had a purpose. So when God hardened Pharaoh's heart, he did it to glorify him and to give Pharaoh what he asked for. Let's really dig into it. I'm going to go over 4 different responses that we have with the hardened heart. Because Pharaoh's not the only one in history who has a hardened heart. Some of you may be sitting in church right now with a hardened heart. And it may have just been hardened once, or it may have been hardened 5 times, or more. But God's going to show you us through this sermon, through the Pharaoh's point of view, practical things that we do. Because you may find out, because I know I did, the more I looked at the sermon, the more I found out I'm a lot like Pharaoh. And that's scary. You may find out you're more like Pharaoh than you thought too. Now, Egypt is the place in the world right now. There is nowhere more powerful than Egypt. Nowhere more glamorous than Egypt. And Pharaoh is the king of all. So there's no one more powerful in the world than Pharaoh right now. First response of a hardened heart, blatant disobedience. Parents probably give me an amen on that one. I mean, I know I don't ever do it, but blatant disobedience. Blatant disobedience isn't, oh yeah, I'll do it, and then you don't do it. Blatant disobedience is, no, I'm not going to do it, don't got no plans to do it, and I probably won't do it, so don't plan on me doing it. That's how God saw Pharaoh act. Because when Moses went up to him the first time, he said, all right, let my people go. Pharaoh said, who is God? I don't care. I'm not letting your people go. In fact, they're going to work harder. So they said, all right, you don't believe in us. So then Aaron took his rod, goes, pow, watch this. Boom, turns into a snake, slithers across the floor. I mean, if that ain't a sign, I don't know what is. That's gracious. But then, I'm going to get into this a little bit. Pharaoh had these magicians back in that time. The Bible does not indicate how they did it, whether it was sleight of hand, smoke and mirrors, witchcraft, whether it was actual magic. My belief, me and Billy talked about this, I believe that God allowed black magic demons to be able to replicate it so that they thought they were making God lose. You know how God likes to do that, right? Like, oh, darn, they replicated it. No, he knew what he was doing. He had them right where he wanted. So my belief is that he allowed some shady demon stuff go on to make it look like God's not as impressive. So when he really slapped down that hammer, he'd impress the mess out of them. But they replicated. They made a snake too. So you know what Pharaoh said? Well, that's not impressive. They did it. So I don't think it's real. So I don't care. And his heart was hardened for the first time. How often do we ask God for a sign? How often do we want God to show us something? Or how often do we not even ask Him to show us something, but He shows us something right in front of our faces, and then we don't see it as a sign, and we keep on doing what we're doing? How often, I know Billy told this story the other day about, the guy saying God's going to protect me, and God's going to save me, and then he brings like a boat, and then he brings like a helicopter, and then he's just like, oh, no. And God, he dies, and he goes to heaven, and God's like, I sent you like every possible thing to save you. How often does God send you a sign right in front of your face and you deny? Hey, come to church with me this weekend. Nah. Hey, I've been praying for you. Whatever. Sometimes they're not good signs. Like, sometimes it may be you've been drinking too much, you've been gambling too much, you've been overindulging in something you shouldn't do, and then your best friend, your brother, your family member dies of alcohol poisoning, loses his house. That's a sign that you might need to stop or you'll be next. But how often are we like Pharaoh, we just ignore the signs, we keep doing what we want to do? So, God says, okay, hit him with the first plague. He turns water to blood. It says in Exodus 7:19. I'm going to go ahead and read it. Y'all can get there. But I'm going to go ahead and read it. 7:19. Exodus 7:19 says, Then the Lord said to Moses, Tell Aaron, take your staff and raise your hand over the waters of Egypt. All its rivers, canals, ponds, and all the reservoirs, turn all the water to blood. Everywhere in Egypt the water will turn to blood, even the water stored in wooden bowls and stone pots. See, when I was a kid, I always thought that, well, even as a kid, I thought Moses did most of this, but for the good half of it, it was Aaron doing the hands-on stuff. So Moses, his brother, takes the rod, and I've always seen it this way. He puts it in the Nile River, and then the Nile River just turns to blood. And it's like, oh, cool, that's icky. The Bible said it wasn't just the Nile River, it was the creeks, it was the canals. Even if you had a cup of water, and he put that rod in the river, your cup turned to blood. Every single thing of water in Egypt turned to thick, nasty smelling blood. Now God, He's clever. He didn't just do this because He's like, oh, this will gross him out. almost every plague has a correlation to one of the Egyptian gods. They had a river god named Khnum that they worshipped. God took one of their fake gods and he destroyed it. He made it unvaluable. Because the river, the Nile River, is how they had ports go through, they had boats come through, that's how they transported people, their goods, their livestock, everything. Whew. Useless. God said, have a God above me, I'll show you. But unfortunately, guess what? I do not know how, but the magicians were able to replicate it. To me, they probably just threw a little bit of red dye and some water and like, ooh. I don't know. But Pharaoh was like, well, if they can do it, then I'm not impressed. So Pharaoh's heart became hard. I will not let your people go. Blatant disobedience. You're not real. I don't believe in you. This is stupid. So the second response of a hardened heart is not being sincere. Not really meaning what you say. I mean, one thing, this is a short side thing. We all tell each other, I love you, I love you, I love you. But one thing, when I went on my Emmaus trip, you really learn about a sincere love there. A love that when you say I love you, you believe they love you. You can feel it when someone's sincere. You can see in their eyes, you can see the way they treat you. Pharaoh's not very sincere. That's one of his responses to a hardened heart. The second plague hits. Frogs. Big old bullfrogs. Maybe small little frogs. I don't know. Frogs. Big old frogs is what I'm guessing. I have to look into the Egypt frog dialogue, but big old frogs. It says in Exodus 8, 2 through 4. If you refuse to let them go, I will send a plague of frogs across your entire land. The Nile River will swarm with frogs. They will come up out of the river and into your palace, even into your bedroom and onto your bed. They will enter the houses of your officials and your people. They will even jump into your ovens and your kneading bowls. Frogs will jump on you, your people, and all your officials. That's a bunch of frogs. I mean, on your bed. Wake up and there's frogs up on your bed, like on your chest, like in your head. Yeah, but I'll jump and slimy in a minute. Yeah. This is just the second plague. The first one lasted 7 days. They didn't have no water. They probably only had water and wine, and then I'm sure that someone mixed up the wine with blood at least one time. I mean, it was just bad. Now they send frogs. And I'm thinking, as many frogs as they're saying, it had to be millions and trillions of frogs. But if a frog was all up in your house, what would be the first thing you would do? Kill it. You start killing them. I wouldn't just say, okay, you gotta go back outside. There you go. There's no. No, I'd start like stomping and stuff and getting the daggone sweeper and just start hitting them, killing them, crushing them. I'd probably set my house on fire, to tell you the truth. Have frog bites afterwards. Here's the problem. They had a frog god named Hikwi. They worshipped the frogs. So they couldn't kill the frogs. They just had to let them be. Because they worshipped a god with a frog head named Hikwi. So they just had to leave them be. Frogs everywhere. They were probably like, all right, this is different. But you know what? They couldn't kill them. So then they just died right there. All over to Egypt. In the beds, in their closets, in their pots, everywhere. They're just dead frogs. God is so clever. He made them loathe. He made them hate. He made them just absolutely despise a thing that they worship. He took out the river god. He took out the frog-headed god. It just sounds dumb saying it. But frog-headed god, Hikwi. So what would you think you'd want to do? You think, I want to get rid of the frogs. Well, somehow they thought it was a good idea to get the magicians to prove them wrong again and make more frogs. So the magicians showed them again. They made more frogs. But in my mind, God's like, I'll send frogs all across the land. So there's like trillions of frogs everywhere. And the magician's like, I can do that too. Ribbit, like one frog probably. I can said, I don't know how it works, but I just imagine the magician's magic compared to our God's power has to be kind of disappointing. You know, like the offering to get $1 at the store compared to like Best Buy. You're like, oh, this is, it's not. So, since they were able to replicate it, Pharaoh wasn't impressed. Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and once again, he didn't let the people go. He said, nah, this isn't real. I don't believe it. But it says in Exodus 8:8, it says, Then Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron, and he begged, Plead with the Lord to take the frogs away from me and my people. I will let your people go, so they can offer sacrifice to the Lord. Woo! He said, let them go. It's over. Oh, crap. What was that response to a hardened heart? Not being sincere. Not meaning what you say. Yeah, I'll let them go, sure. Hey, go ahead, get out of here, guys. No sacrifice. Just as long as you take the frogs away. Just take the frogs away. Please, gosh. Take the frogs away. So, God took the frogs away. I don't think he took them away. I think just he killed them. He didn't bring any more. They were still left with, it says they were left with a whole bunch of frogs. And they just had to put them in big piles and it just decayed. And frogs don't smell good to begin with, so just imagine dying frog. I mean, it smells bad. Well, he stopped it. But guess what? He didn't mean it. Once the frogs were away, once he got what he wanted, he didn't keep his promise to God. He didn't follow through. His heart was hardened. Does that sound like us at times? God, oh man, just get me through this. Please, God, just take this sickness away. God, just get me through this, hard time. Just help me with my marriage. Just help me get my kids into church. Just help me get through this financial hard time. Just help me not drink one more bottle today. Just help me quit this drug addiction. I'll go to church. I'll start worshiping. I'll call that friend up. I'll do this. God comes through because God is good. And what do? You lucky if you do any of those things one day. You don't follow through. You know why you don't? Because you're not sincere. You never meant it. You never had any intentions of going through with it. You never wanted to go through with it. You just wanted to pay up lip service to God. You just want to tell people what they want to hear. You just want to say what you know God wanted to hear. You want to make a promise with God, but you never even had the intentions of following through with it. Just like Pharaoh. You do for me, God, I'll do for you. God does for you. Ha! Gotcha, just kidding. God does not deserve that kind of behavior from us. But then, God said, okay, you just kidding? I'll throw it up another plate. I'm just getting started. I have so easy. Third plague. It says gnats, but in my research me and Billy did, gnats translated back to Hebrew goes to mites. So think fleas, think ticks. You from the south, think chiggers. Y'all heard chiggers? Them nasty things. You look them up. Look, if I had more time, I was gonna look up a picture per plague. So I'm gonna show you some bloody water. I was gonna show you like some frogs, and then I just decided not to because when we get some of the future ones of this one, it's just really. Some of y'all might have to leave church, and I ain't got that many people here, so I don't want to run it out. But it was nasty. I'll get one later. I'll just say, look again, and I'll say it. But I showed him one earlier. But these came up like a dust. Let me read it for you. It says in Exodus 8:16 through 19. It says, So the Lord said to Moses, Tell Aaron, again, Aaron's doing all the hard work right here. But still the Lord is talking through Moses. He says, Tell Aaron, raise your staff and strike the ground. The dust will turn to swarms of gnats throughout the land of Egypt. So Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded them. When Aaron raised his hand and struck the ground with his staff, gnats infested the entire land, covering the Egyptians and their animals. All the dust in the land of Egypt turned into gnats. Pharaoh's magicians tried to do the same thing with their secret arts, but this time they failed. From here on out, magicians couldn't do anything. But check this out. The gnats covered everyone, people and animals alike. So Pharaoh's heart is hard. He's still like, nah, this is, I don't believe in it. I'm not going to go back now because I've done committed to it. But look, this is the finger of God, the magicians exclaimed to Pharaoh. But Pharaoh's heart remained hard. He wouldn't listen to them, just as the Lord had predicted. This is nothing new. If you went back to last week, God said, look, Pharaoh's not going to come through. I'm going to have to do a lot of convincing. I'm going to have to do a lot of crazy miracles to convince him. Even these magicians who believed in the dark arts and did these crazy, weird things, they saw this and they're like, that's your God. I can't do that. That's crazy. Dust. You can shut your doors, you can shut your windows, you can do everything. Dust is going to find a way in. So, and trust me, we got a lot better mechanical doors and windows than they did back in Egypt's time. So this dust, it filled everything. And it wasn't dust. It was little chiggers, it was little ticks, it was little fleas. It just translates to mites, which are digging under your skin, blood-sucking, itching animals that itch about 10 times more than mosquitoes. All over. It's not just how you have like 3 main ones. Like I got one leg, one this arm, one that arm. Just kind of do that thing right there. Just itch them off. Y'all know how you are. Got back, just kind of up and down on the tree. This one, we didn't have enough hands to itch all of them. It was bad. It itched. It was red. Look. It's summertime. I'm sure y'all can relate to this. You ever had so many bug bites? It's not that it itches. It's just that it's going to drive you crazy just because you... This is just the third plague. And Pharaoh is not any exception. Pharaoh's getting this treatment too. He's got to smell the frogs. He had to go without water. He got gnats and chiggers and all that stuff on him right now. But he didn't care. Hard heart. Once again. So then fourth plague comes along. Flies. But flies translates to swarm in the Hebrew language. So there's no telling what insect it is, and more than likely it was probably just a whole mess of different insects. Like flies and mosquitoes and beetles, and they're very, very strong indications that beetles were involved in the swarm because, guess what? The Egyptians had another false god that was a beetle, and its name was Khepri. So I'm not making this up, Khepri. These are weird names.
Yes.
Look, I'm sorry, Dan, I just got something. So I was just going over the sermon with Gannon, right? And I was going over these different names of their false gods. He goes, why are their names so weird? I was like, because, they're in Africa, they're in Egypt, they're in a different language. He says, well, they should be American names. I was like, it'd make it easier on all of us. I have a hard time pronouncing. I wish it was like, and then they had the beetle god Kevin, and then they had, Kevin's your dad name, that was no indication. It just started with a K, Khepri, Kevin, sorry. Kyle, there you go. So, but that was just cute and funny. But anyways, so I'm very strong belief there was beetles in this swarm to make them loathe another one of their fake gods, to hate another one of their fake gods. And God was the one that sent it because he is way more powerful because he actually exists. But then we have from here on out, starting at fourth plague, throughout the 10, Israel, the people that are chosen by God, who were right beside Egypt, are not affected by the rest of these plagues at all. They didn't get affected by that swarm, and they're not going to be affected by the rest of these other ones. And when you hear some of the other ones, it's amazing how they just have this blanket of protection over them. Because God's doing all this crazy stuff, who are you to say he couldn't just protect them from something right beside them? So he protects his people from here on out. So this is the third response of a hardened heart. And this one, stepped on my toes, and we kind of basically already stepped on it. Anyway, a third response to a hardened heart is bargaining with God. And that's what Pharaoh tried to do. After the fourth plague, Pharaoh says, okay. How about this? Moses, come here. What if, maybe I'll let you serve God and make sacrifices and all that stuff, but you just stay in Egypt? How about you just stay in Egypt and you can still serve God? Today, the devil tells you, hey, be a Christian, do all that you want, go to church, but don't leave the world. Don't go out of the world. Conform to the world. You can do all this. You can come to church. You can worship God. You can sing. You can, be in a class. But just, I gotta find this verse. It's in Romans. He says, but just don't quit what you're doing. Don't quit drinking on Saturday night. Don't quit gambling during the week. Don't quit ignoring your kids and being a bad parent. Don't quit disobeying your parents. Still do all the stuff of the world, do all the stuff that's deemed cool. Still listen to that music you know you shouldn't be doing. Still play that video game you know you shouldn't be. We think, hey, I go to church. I'm okay. I go to church. I got a free pass to it. I won't the rest of the week because I went to church on Sunday. But I got to redeem it next Sunday or else it goes out. It's not how it works. It says in Romans 12:2, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. Then you will learn to know God's will for you, which is good and pleasing and perfect. Don't conform to the world, but be transformed into Jesus Christ. And that's what Moses knew. That's why Moses denied this compromise of Pharaoh. What you got to think, Pharaoh, his pride is so high, for him to even think to make this bargain has to be so hard for him. And then Moses goes, no, that's not the deal. No deal. Deal, no deal. No deal. Pow. I love that show. Moses didn't accept this, so once again, Pharaoh's heart was hard. So then Pharaoh gives this other bargain. He says, okay, you can go into the wilderness, just don't go far. Just go like right outside of Egypt. All right, God, I'll serve you, but I still want to be inside of the world. You don't commit 100%. I'll go to church on Sunday, and I may even go to church on Wednesday. But, I'm not going to help serve. I'm not going to, give up my sports. No, I got baseball. I got football. I got to watch baseball. I got to watch football. I'll give you a lot. God, I come to church. I read my Bible at least once a week. But you want me to give up my stuff I like? I know you basically did everything for me and promised me eternity and sent your one and only son to die for me, but I can't believe this game is going to be a big one. If they lose, then they might not make it to the playoffs. So, no game. And this is talking to myself. It's hard sometimes, but sports is good. And then women, I don't know. There's a sale and it's only Sunday morning, and I want to go buy a thing. I don't know how to relate to you guys, but I'm working on that. But still, we got to commit 100% to God all the time. And I know that seems like 100%. Like, what about 90%? Now, if I thought about it ahead of time, I'll look up this verse, but literally there's a verse in here where Jesus is walking with the disciples, and people come up and say, God, we want to, Jesus, we want to walk with you, we want to be with you. What do we have to do? He says, drop everything, and then you can come with me. He doesn't say drop most things. He doesn't say give up the bad things. He says drop everything. And I don't think he means literally sell your house, do everything. It just means put me above everything else that you prioritize. Give me 100%. And that's hard. It is hard sometimes to do this. You want to leave your options open. But once again, it didn't work, so Pharaoh's heart got hardened again. So, guess what? We get another plague. He kills all their livestock. All of them. 9:3. Exodus 9:3. The hand of the Lord will strike all your livestock, your horses, your donkeys, camels, cattle, sheep, and goats with a deadly plague. Guess what? All of Israel's livestock, fine. Completely fine. Not even touched. But Egypt, they were in bad shape. All those animals, done. Here's the thing. It's not directly stated, but it's very, 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 very likely. Obviously, Egypt, they worshipped livestock, whether it be cows or sheep or whatnot. And if any of you know the story, it's very likely that's where Israel got the idea to worship the golden calf at the bottom of Mount Sinai. That's later, but that happened, and it's like, I can't believe they did that. But it's very possible they got that from Egypt. So God said, here's all your other false gods. Dead.